Welcome to Club Soda's Mindful Drinking Festival. We're online, global, and as always, absolutely free. Hi, I'm Drew, and I'm one of the co-founders of Club Soda.
And I'm Laura, the other co-founder of Club Soda. We help you change your drinking in ways that help you live well. So whether you're looking to cut down, stop for a bit, or quit, you can find what you need from podcasts and books and courses on joinclubsoda.com. This festival, we've brought you an amazing lineup from over 100 people from across the world.
And our programme this time really is global.
Every day starts down under with me, Sarah. As well as organising the festival in Australia, I spend my time looking for alcohol-free alternatives and tips for people who choose not to drink, but who still want to live a social, fun and adventurous life.
And I'll be wrapping up each day here in the States. I'm Amanda, your US festival host and coordinator, and I'm also a mindset coach who helps women change their relationship with alcohol so that they can start living their most authentic life.
Each day with a rolling programme of inspirational panels, conversations, social events, and opportunities to discover new low and no alcohol drinks.
So whether you want inspiration to change your drinking,
Or to connect with other people,
or you want to discover and enjoy a new low and no alcohol drink,
The Mindful Drinking Festival is for you.
cheers!
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 cheers.
Hi, I'm Jessy, and I'm the manager of the Club Soda Guide, and we'll be talking today about how you can train your staff and basically make your venue a much better place for people who are looking to drink mindfully. And I'm here with Anja.
Hello, so I'm Anja. I work with Club Soda as well, so I do a lot of our sort of content about drinks. I help Jessy out with keeping the guide up to date, and we've worked on some of these training materials together as well.
So today we're going to talk through a couple of things around training staff and venues to sell low-no alcohol drinks. We're going to start by talking more generally about low-no alcohol drinks, why you might need to train your staff to sell them, how you should be talking to your staff about them, and then we've got some exciting news about some courses and materials that we've been working on to help support your staff. So, Anja, do you want to start off by talking to us about, what we think a great low and no selection should look like for a venue?
Yeah, so I think when we talk about this, we try not to be too prescriptive. So it's not sort of a case of you must have this many of these things and this many of this. And we try and put it into the context of each venue and what it already does. So, for example, if you're running a brewery tap room and you're showcasing a range of full strength beers, you're probably not going to need to stock an alcohol-free wine or maybe an alcohol-free spirit, but it would probably be appropriate to have some low and no beers available, which just kind of suits the venue and the clientele that you're going to be pulling in. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think, generally we think, the bigger the better. And if you want to go all in, go wild, that'd be really exciting. But I think also for lots of people, lots of venues, the important thing is, to introduce your customers as much as yourselves to these drinks at a pace that's appropriate to your venue. So, if you're in maybe a more urban area where low-no alcohol drinks are a bit more common, you might feel like your customers are ready to jump onto that menu bandwagon immediately. Whereas maybe if you're somewhere where low-no alcohol drinks, you don't really see them in venues as much, your customers as well as your staff might take some more time to warm up to them, which is why kind of a little and often approach, as it were, can be much more successful in terms of creating a great low-no alcohol menu.
Sure. And I think as well, there's a lot to be said for looking at a list and being able to see that that's actually been really carefully curated rather than everything that was available was kind of put on it as a sort of catch-all. I think there's a lot to be said for really considered menu writing as well.
Definitely. And yeah, bearing in mind what you sell from an alcoholic perspective definitely adds to that consideration, because as you said, using the example of a brewery tap room, if you've got someone who wants a non-alcoholic drink who's going there, they're probably not going to be super interested in that non-alcoholic wine anyway, because they've chosen to come to your brewery tap room. They want to try beer, and they're probably in a group of friends who want to try beer as well. And that's a classic thing, again, we see again and again when we do surveys, is lots of the time when people aren't drinking, they want to make sure they're included with their group of friends who might be drinking. So being able to offer those equivalent options contributes to that feeling of inclusion for people.
Definitely. I think that maybe kind of brings us quite nicely onto actually understanding our customers and what they actually need from us. Because that sort of thing with inclusion, I think customers actually face quite a lot of challenges that we're often not aware of unless we actually stop to think about it. I know kind of when I started looking at my own behavior around drink, I think that was when I sort of went, oh, wow, this must be how lots of people are feeling about all these things. And I'd never really given that enough thought before. So I think a lot of it is kind of empathizing with your customer or just really understanding their needs. So kind of getting your staff to think about why people might be choosing not to drink, whether that's for health reasons, weight loss, religious reasons, just not enjoying drinking, having problematic relationships with drink. There's so many reasons that people would choose not to drink. And I think as well, we often sort of assume that if someone's not drinking, then they never drink. And we don't always think about the sort of more flexible person that's somewhere in the middle that will sometimes choose not to just because they don't want to today. So I think it's kind of taking staff's mindset away from the idea that drinking alcohol is the norm and kind of opening that thought process up a bit to, just kind of chatting with that customer and seeing what it is they're actually after.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention the fact that, also you might have customers who might want to start their night with an alcohol-free drink and might even be moving on to drink alcohol later in the evening or later in the day, whatever that looks like for them. So having that, real understanding that there are a myriad of reasons that someone might be looking for something off your low no alcohol menu. And to a certain extent, by recognizing there are so many reasons, it takes the quite intense focus that sometimes people can feel placed under. And we've got a few stats from some research we've done about people's experience. And, this quote here that I've just put up, they made the effort without making me feel ordinary, is someone talking about a really positive experience they had. And I think, that sense of making someone feel like they're important and they're a valued customer is really essential to creating a great environment and creating a mindful venue. And, when we did a survey with Club Soda members, 95% of respondents said that they were much more likely to decide to pick a venue that they felt had good alcohol-free options and was going to make them feel included. So, there's a real kind of bang for your buck almost in making this effort as well. It's not, inclusion is important and you kind of should want to do it regardless, but there are financial benefits for it as well. And, we get numerous stories of people being laughed at, teased, judged by bar staff. People describe being, looked at like they were an alien just for asking to see alcohol-free menu. But then the great stories often have to do with how bar staff interact with them. So, one person said that they went to the bar, asked for a mocktail because there were none on the menu. And the staff there asked them what flavours they liked and custom made them a mocktail, which from scratch, which tasted and felt exactly like a cocktail, and it allowed them to fit in and feel like they were having a drink that was a treat.
Yeah, I think that fitting in visually as well is really important, because for a lot of people, there's a number of reasons why people don't always tell the people around them that they're not drinking that day. And so having something in hand that looks the part, that feels the part, kind of gets rid of any of that sort of awkwardness of anyone, oh, why aren't you drinking? And all those kind of questions that people can start asking. So it takes the pressure off the customer as well.
So, Anja, what kind of advice would you give a venue manager who was asking you how should they start to introduce their staff to thinking about low and no, to start talking to them about it, start training them on it?
Oh, it's a big question. I think the first thing does have to be understanding that customer. and kind of getting staff to think about what that customer needs, difficult positions that customer's been in, and thinking about how we talk to our customers as well. So like you kind of said, like being laughed at, the kind of classic thing is, you know, what have you got that's alcohol free? Oh, you mean water? Or what's the point? You hear a lot as well. I think you hear that less and less, but it's still an attitude that needs to shift. And I think as well, part of that can actually be really helpful is getting staff to reflect on their own relationship with drinking and think about times when they may have felt pressure to drink when they didn't necessarily want to. And I think the more you can get staff kind of relating to the position of the customer, the better they're going to be able to serve them. And I think as well, you know, product knowledge is absolutely essential. I think, you know, good venues spend so much time doing wine training, you know, putting people through courses sometimes to understand all their alcoholic drinks, like Cicerone training for beer servers, menu tastings for your food. And then your drinks that aren't alcoholic tend to just kind of be in the background. And I think we maybe sort of see them as a second-class product. So I think it's about elevating those products in the perception of your team and making them see that actually every product that you choose to put in your venue is as important as the next, and needs to be treated as such. So I think it's teaching staff to respect those products as much as they would anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a good point you say that, you know, like everything you've chosen to put into your venue, because, you know, you're not just going to put whatever drink comes your way. You know, if everything that you're selling, you put there for a reason, and it's a shame to not give products just because they don't have lesser alcohol content a lesser space, because they're still in your bar for a reason ultimately at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think sort of encouraging staff to even start those conversations. If I'm bartending myself, I try to not immediately start saying, here's the wine list, here's the beer list. And I try and say, you know, what are you looking for? We have, and then I kind of quickly sort of, you know, we've got beers, we've got wines, we've got some wonderful alcohol-free options, so that customer immediately feels really comfortable in saying, oh yeah, actually alcohol-free is what I want as well. So I think it's about showing off those products and making the customer comfortable.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that quite neatly leads on to also something we touched on a little bit earlier, but that for lots of people who might be choosing not to drink alcohol, they're not necessarily going to know exactly what it is they're after and what it is they're looking for. And, you know, like I think craft beer is a great analogy when we think about the low no alcohol drink scene in the way it's blown up, that you've got your people who are proper like beer nerds, they're going to come in, they might have already looked at your tap list, they're going to know exactly what they want. You've also got people who are going to be dipping your toe into the water, and they're going to want to try stuff. And that's exactly the same when it comes to alcohol free. There are some people who might have tried everything, know exactly what they want, they're ordering stuff online, they're getting it in at home and they're excited to try it out. But there also might be people who've decided they don't want to drink tonight and are looking forward to trying these products for the first time, but don't necessarily know how it's going to fit in with what they've tried before, with what their palate's like. And that kind of goes right back into staff training, because if your staff haven't tried these products, then it's going to be very hard for them to talk to that customer.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The amount of time and money that goes into training, particularly I find for things like wine, you'll spend hours with people around a table, tasting everything on the menu, talking about how that works with your food. And those kind of training sessions are fun as well. I have always loved doing those things. And similarly, I think most kind of leading beer venues now, when a new beer comes on tap, they'll pour a little bit off. Everyone will have a taste. They'll talk about it amongst themselves. And I think it's just such a shame even if you have some brilliant alcohol-free options in your fridges or on your taps, if you're not pouring samples and saying to the staff, try this, let's chat about it, so that you feel comfortable conveying to the customer what this tastes like and what it's similar to. I think it's such a shame if that's not happening.
Not to mention, you can try your alcohol-free products without worrying about your staff getting drunk on shift.
Yeah.
which you can't necessarily do in the same way. You know, often training sessions for like wines or whatever will be held at a different time or whatever, but it's a lot easier to feel comfortable with just cracking a bottle of whatever you've got and, you know, giving your staff the option to try that when there's maybe some more downtime in your venue, as opposed to having to get everyone in separately.
Definitely. I've definitely had times where at an old job, like I've done the line clean, put all the beers back on and then gone through them to see how everything is tasting. And it might not even be midday yet. And you're thinking, oh, actually, I don't feel great for that.
Especially when you get to that 10% stout.
So it's a lot better. Yeah, definitely. It fits. You can fit that into any time of shift and it's okay. And you don't have to worry about someone being a lightweight and not being able to handle the training session.
So maybe we should talk about some of the stuff that we've been doing to try and make this easier for venues. So we have spent the past couple of months putting together 2 new courses, which are aimed at one for venue managers and one for venue staff, aimed at helping you create a mindful venue. So Anja, I don't know if you want to talk a bit more about that process.
Yeah. Gosh, we covered quite a lot of ground in it, didn't we? I think the sort of main aim was that kind of inclusivity in terms of building the range, being able to speak to customers. I think we've kind of delved into actually explaining what low and no is and how we talk about these products. Because a lot of consumers that are looking for alcohol-free are still very confused about what that actually is. And if staff can't tell them what it is, then actually sometimes you'll have products that sit there and people won't drink it because they think that they can't have that. So when we're talking about 0.5%, so in a lot of countries, 0.5% is classed as alcohol-free. We talk about this all the time at Club Soda, don't we? But you'll find various sort of foods like very ripe fruit, soy sauce, all sorts of things that do contain a trace amount of alcohol. And actually, there's a lot of lobbying in the UK to change that labelling so that we can just say that 0.5 is alcohol-free. But I think for a lot of consumers, they still don't know that. And so they think that they can't have that product if they're strictly no alcohol. So, you know, pulling things like that apart and giving staff sort of just really key learnings to help them put those products in front of the right people. That was one of the sort of big things from it. Is there anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I would just add as well, what's really great is because we've got the Club Soda Guide, we've really tried to integrate that into the training as well. So the Club Soda Guide, for anyone who doesn't know, is the best place to find out about low and no alcohol drinks and where to find them. So we've got over 1,000 different low and no alcohol drinks listed there. And we also list venues and what they serve. But for the courses, we've really used the drinks part to show how venues can use the guide to try and find the drinks that they will fit for their venue. Because, you know, with over 1,000 drinks out there, there really is going to be something that does work for you. And so we've tried within the course to show how you can use that website to search by category, figure out what you want. The guide also lists a lot of the time where you can buy it. So it really like helps do a complete package. So you can find our manager course at the URL here, which we've literally just released today. And we've got it at Mindful Drinking Festival discount for £10. So, you know, the content we really wanted to cover was basically to take you all the way from A to Z on, you know, starting from nothing. So like Anja said, like understanding what 0.5% is, understanding what drinks are available, all the way through to picking those options for you, pricing, marketing, putting it on your menu, draft. And then Anja's also done some amazing work around something that we also think is really important about creating a mindful venue, which is about supporting your staff as well. So Anja, I don't know if you want to talk about that bit as well.
Yeah, so we've done lots of courses in the past about changing your drinking. We talked about a course specifically aimed at staff who work around alcohol a lot. So I've spent just shy of 13 years of my career working in the beer industry, working in venues and breweries. And I know from, you know, countless colleagues and friends that it is really challenging to work around alcohol all the time. And I think that unfortunately that's something that as an industry we don't really acknowledge, I think, to the extent that we should. Maybe because it's scary, because it's kind of jarring to realize that the thing that we produce and sell can also be damaging to the people that are working with it. So we went about making a course specifically aimed at hospitality staff to just help them kind of check in with their own relationship with drinking and how that sort of intersects with their working week. Because it's very different, you know. A lot of people that come to Club Soda for help with changing their drinking are in more kind of 9 to 5 sort of roles, more of an office environment. And I think that's very, very different to managing strange shift patterns. And then this culture of kind of, you know, maybe finishing work at 2, 3 in the morning and then going out drinking. And so we wanted to kind of tackle that head on and give people something that they can actually use to yeah, I guess just adjust their behavior if they feel that would help them. And just, yeah, provide a bit of a support specifically for those people. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, and so we've got the full course for that kind of stuff, which we've done, which is currently in collaboration with the Drinks Trust, which is available currently free for anyone working in hospitality. And we've just incorporated basically like some of the key learnings that we've got in that in this course, more specifically about creating a mindful venue for the managers. And then we also have done one more specifically for staff. So I don't know if you want to talk about some of the kind of key differences between what people can expect from each course.
Yeah, I suppose so. With the managers course, there's obviously more content around sort of the decision making and training staff and, you know, kind of that top down sort of thing. Whereas I think the staff one, I think we've tried a bit more to really get them to grips with the customer, to get them feeling confident with talking about products and talking to these customers. And also I think we've like encouraged people to bring their ideas to the table at work as well and feel more confident about being active in the conversation rather than just sort of waiting for a manager to say we're going to do this. I think we have tried to encourage really active participation in bringing a good range to venues at sort of both levels.
Right, and I think that's really key as well, is for, you know, staff members to feel like they can, you know, take a lead on this stuff with venues if it's perhaps something that their management hasn't necessarily had a chance to look at or think about. You know, being able to kind of offer that expertise or that experience can be really beneficial to a venue to bring new things in. And, you know, I know before when I've worked in different pubs and bars, you often get people who have their own interests and their own little expertise. You know, someone who might know a bit more about wine, someone who might know a bit more about gin, and, you know, they can really like carve out their niche with a venue. And I think it'd be great to see more staff feeling able to do that with low and no alcohol drinks.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm gradually seeing it with one of the companies that I work with where someone has quit drinking and he's now taking a really active interest in making sure that there's a better range across all the sites. And it's really nice to see that because it's been driven by a sort of personal experience as well. And it's very cool to see that his colleagues that really like and respect him are now starting to think differently because of something that he's put in front of them. So yeah, I think it's a really nice opportunity for staff to kind of, yeah, share their learnings with the team as well.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes, you know, that peer-to-peer knowledge, that ability to be able to help people out on a shift is just as important as, you know, a kind of top-down management thing, because a lot of the time managers aren't necessarily going to be on the bar all the time. They've got lots of other things to be doing with their time. So being able to have that, you know, staff ability to help people out and take the collective learning of a venue along, I think is really, really important.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, I hope that even if staff aren't doing our course that is aimed for them and their own drinking, I kind of hope that if people are doing our course about mindful venues, that might also have a little impact on the team and how the team choose to drink and socialize as well, and kind of just it's almost that kind of giving permission to to not drink if you don't want to, I think, which is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. So, Anja, I think before we wrap up, I'd love to hear, what would your top tip be for anyone looking to create a mindful venue based on everything we've been working on and talking about?
Well, this may be a little bit too self-promoty, but I think looking at the guide is a really brilliant place to start, because you can actually see all the categories of drinks that are available. And I think there are, like you said, we've got over 1,000 drinks on there. There's so much out there that I think people are just not aware of at all. And it's so much more than some of the kind of macro brands that we're seeing bringing products to market. There's so many interesting artisan products. And I think looking at that, I think is a really great place to start getting inspired for what you could create.
Yeah, and I think mine would be to really try and put yourself in the shoes of your customer who might not be drinking alcohol. If you can stop for a minute and think, what would happen if you went to the pub, if you really like beer, and there was either one beer there, just some like Kronenberg or something on tap, maybe you weren't feeling that, or even if they just said, sorry, we don't have beer, you can only have a lemonade. Really think about, like, what would your experience be like if your kind of alcohol-centric world shifted? Because that's really what the experience is for people who are choosing not to drink alcohol. And that's a real shame, because we know, like Anja was just saying with the guide, we know that we can create really amazing drinking experiences for people who aren't drinking. So just to wrap up, if you are interested in the courses, you can go to drawingclubsoda.com/courses/creating-mindful-venue, and then either -staff or manager. You can also see that in our products page. And there is also the Mindful Drinking and Hospitality course, which is currently, if you work in hospitality, it's free thanks to our collaboration with the Drinks Trust. You can also find that on our website to sign up for that and give it a good go and learn some things about your drinking. Amazing.
Cool.
Thanks very much, Anja.
See you later.
Bye-bye.